Yeah, so before understanding today's objective, let's try to recollect it, what we were understanding yesterday, and then we continue. Yeah, yesterday we were understanding some operators, right? Yeah, so some pending operators which we are understanding. Yeah, that's about string operators. String operators, remember that important, that is about zero length string to check it, or reverse way non-zero length string to check it, either -z or -n, we can use it there. So the -z is 0. If the string is length is 0, then it returns true. Otherwise, it is false. -n that represents the reverse case of. So these two things, and remaining is equals, not equals, that is a comparison of the strings. So there are some important operators, and file operators point of view, which are trying to understand is it the file or not. Checking about it with the -f, directories, or binary file or not, the character special file, or read, write, and execute permissions. Yeah, the last two are important operators. That is, the file exists or not, that is -e, and -s, the file size to know that. So file has greater than 0 length or not. Yes, that is to have it. Yes, we can use it at -s. If it is a greater than 0 bytes, then it returns true, otherwise it is false. Yeah, there are some operators on the if-else condition. If you are working with, if you are using about it string variables or file yes verifications, then these operators are helping that. Then we were understanding case and async statements as well as. Yeah, nested if else we can handle that the same use case, but with the different patterns. If you'd like to implement it with nested if else conditions, so another solution what you have to say is that is a case async. We can say this is the replacement of the nested if else. But what is the syntax and how that's going to use it that? Yeah, the case and the variable which we can pass it, and in, yes, this variable is matched in this either one of the pattern 1 or pattern 2 or pattern 3, then that pattern related statements will be executed. Then this is the end of this pattern. Like each pattern, it will be ended with this double semicolons. Finally, how do we end this case statement is async at the end of the statement. Yeah, these are some examples, cases and case and async statements which we are trying to understand it. And how do we return the statuses of the script? That is exit statuses. That is also one of the concepts which are observing that some of the examples on it. Yeah, exit and case statements. Yeah, exit with the code, the error code. So 0, which we use it for the success. But if you have that multiple failure cases and multiple failures to handle that, yes, we use the different the codes. But how do we return that? Or how do we how do we return the script with the proper status codes as per that the application requirement or script requirement? That is, we can say exit. Yeah, exit statements, how do we define it? And single line of the statements, yes. So using the logical and logical or operators, how do we handle that? The if conditions, if we have, so how do we handle that? So single line of the statements, that is some examples we are understanding. Yeah, these are all the case statements with the different patterns, how that is going to helping that. Yeah, there are some examples for it. Yeah, there are the points that we are understanding the yesterday on the concept. So far, if you just observe the types of the shells and shell variables. Yeah, how do we define that shell variable? And then special variables, yes, dollar with that, like we are understanding 0, 1 to n, question mark, asterisk, hash, at the rate of dollar, exclamatory. There are some special variables that's with the dollar we can use it. And conditional statements, how do we implement it? That is with if else, or nested if else. And during the conditional statements implementation, shell operators. What are the different types of the operators on the basis of the variable? If the variable is a numeric, we have the different operators. If the variable is a string, different operators. If the variable is Boolean, different operators. Or if the variable is the file type, then different operators. Yeah, the operators understanding, and with the exit and case statements understanding. That is case async and with exit statuses. Is it clear until that?
Yes, sir. That's good.
I use the chart window clear, quickly the confirm that. Then I'll move to that. Or if you have any queries, questions, please let me know. Yeah, Shankar, Ajay, good. Risha. Good. Yeah, thank you. Let me move to the next another important concept in the programming. Yes, whether that is scripting or programming language, we should know one of the basic concept, that is iterations, or we can say the loops. But what about these iterations or loops? What are the different types of the iterations? That's mostly which we use it in the shell scripting. What is the syntaxes of those? In which context, which one do we use it that? Or in which scenario? So let's have it understanding these concepts, and let's work with that some examples on this. So what is the iteration first of all? So what is the iterations first? Anyone? Iterations or loops also we can say that.
Continuous function or continuous loop.
Continuous loop. Okay. But why do we need to have the continuous loop?
Until we get the output, the execution maybe 10 times, 20, repeat it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Suppose some particular range based, or suppose I have some block of the code. The block of the code I need to execute it number of times. That number of times that could be more than one, if you talk it like a 10 times or 100 times or 200 or 300. So I have some block of the code and it is required to re-execute the number of times. Suppose I need to print simple, just try to understand it. So I have that like echo command, something high. I need to print it 100 times. High, 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 high. So are you going to write like this? Echo high, echo high, echo high, echo, sorry, echo high, like this you are going to write it 100 times. So the same command, but I would like to repeat that the block of the statement the number of times. Once number is reached, then okay, stop it. So if you just observe that, start from, so it has to start it. Start from 1, this block of the code, and whenever it reaches to that 100, whenever it reaches to 100, end of this. So here it is taking some inputs, right? To try to understand exactly the block of the statement, yes, so do you want to print the 10 times or the 100 times? Yes, where do you want to start it? A starting point you need to define. And end point. When do you want to exit that? And so there's a starting and end point. With that one more point, what we can do is we can do that increments also, right? Suppose 1 to 100 printed one by one, that is one case, or print 1 to 100, but only even numbers I need it. Between 1 to 100, only I need that even numbers. Or between 1 to 100, print only odd numbers. So some condition. So here, where do has to start it? When it has to be ended, that end, when do you want to do that? The condition. So total, if you just talk it that in the iteration, 2 or 3 inputs that is required. That is start point, end points, that is a number of times. And whenever that number is reaches, yes, that condition is satisfied, okay, fine. But if the condition is a failed, here also we are talking about the condition. So what is the condition? Whenever that echo reaches that 100, okay, exit that. So iterations are like the same block of the statements number of times the executions. But to define that number of times, yes, you need to give that some inputs. When do you want to start it? Or what is the basic input for it? When do you want to exit that? Or on which condition that you want to enter into that loop? So starting point, ending point, and condition. So on the basis of the requirement, maybe 2 inputs or 3 inputs that is required for the iteration, right? Are you clear about these points? The general way if we just talk it. The definition, I'm not going to define that. But yeah, the definition, what is that? Same block of the statement. If you like to export the number of times, then we can use the iteration. But if you are going to think it about it, iteration, suppose, yeah, let's talk at that examples. You have that 10 servers and connect to that all those 10 servers and copy the file. So 10 servers we have. And SH already configured. How to connect it? Okay, leave it open. That is SSH. But the 10 servers here, that is number. What is that? 10 servers. You need to copy the file. Command is copying the file. SCP, are you going to use it? Yes, obviously remote systems. SCP, which we use it. But the SCP command, it has to perform it starting from the first server until 10 servers completion, it has to be executed. If you are able to elaborate that problem statement, and in that elaboration or analysis, if you hear that repeat the same block the number of times, then think about the iterations or the loops which we can use it. Here first statement which we are talking, that is print high 100 times. Statement is a high, echo high 100 times. Number of times, if you hear it, yes. Number of times executing the particular block of the statement, yes, that is loops or iterations. Second use case, what you are talking that? Yes, you have the 10 servers, take this file and copy to the all the 10 servers. Okay, copy is the command. But how many times, how many servers I need to do that? 10 servers I need to take it. Yeah, 10 times copying the file. Which server you are copying, that is leave it out. Server is the input, okay, definitely. which file is another input. That is command inputs. I'm not talking about the command inputs, but this command we need to run it 10 times. 10 times it has to be performed. Suppose tomorrow if I increase the 20 servers, yes, if I say that 20 servers, then it has to repeat the same SCP for the 20 servers. So if you have these kind of scenarios, or suppose let's talk it, all these the 10 servers, okay, let me talk it that 10 servers you have in one file. Suppose servers.txt. In the servers.txt files, we have that IP1, IP2, like that, all the IP addresses have been defined. So in the servers, if you have that like a 10 IPs, 10 times, if you have the 2 IPs, 2 times, or if you have that 100 times, it has to be repeated. Then also we can think of it iterations, right? So in this file, how many number of lines are there? As a number of lines point of view, we need to iterate it. Here, the starting point is first line, ending point is last line. Until that, you need to iterate it. Yes, here also the iteration, if you just talk it, yes, it is taking the first line. And the range, when it is going to ending, last line. If the last line is reached, okay, end it. So if you are going to use that iterations or for loops, whenever we are analyzing the problem statement, and in that problem statement, if you got the chance of it, same activity repeating the number of times, then you can think it about, okay, I need to handle that the problem statement with the iterations or the loops. But what are the different types of the iterations are available in the shell? Not only the shell, if you go to the any programming language, Java, the C programming, the mostly which we hear that loop types, that is a for loop and a while loop. We have some until other cases also on the basis of the programming language. Yes, even the shell is also having, but mostly which we see that the for loop and while loop. Are you clear up to this? When do we use it, this iteration? The problem statements understanding. And the problem statement to handle that, there is a block of the statement, number of times if you like to execute it. Yes, think about the iteration. But what are the different iterations are available from the shell? That is a for loop and while loop. That is a conclusion. But what is the syntax of the for loop? How do I use it that in the shell scripting? Now, first let me just talk it. Maybe if you know that the C programming or Java programming, normally what is the syntax we use it? The for loop. The when where it has to start it. The variable we will take it. The variable something I, let's assume that I equal to 0. It has to start from the 0. That is the meaning. And when do you want to end it? The condition you need to implement it. Okay, I is less than 100 as 100 times, because here I have defined that the 0 onwards it is starting. That means 100 times is nothing but less than 100. Okay, whenever the condition this is got failed, then exit here. But I has to be increased, right? How do you want to increase it? I plus plus. So this is the increment option. This is the starting option. This is the ending option. So iterations, if you are implementing, 2 or 3 inputs that is required. At least 2 inputs. What are that? Where do you want to start it? When do you want to end it? But increments or the decrements, that is on the base of iterations. By default, it takes anywhere the plus 1. Yeah, then we use the block of the statement, and here, whatever we are talking that the print high. Or if you have the specific others number to print it, yes, you can use it. High, high one, high two, high three, like that it is going to say that. So this is a normal syntax of the programming. Most of the languages which they use this syntax. But in the shell scripting, how do we implement this? What is the syntax of this? So here also for that's like which we use it variable here. So here, okay, I we are talking that as a variable, right? So okay, let me just represent I variable. Which variable that we want to use it? In that variable in. Then here we define the range. But how do I define this 1 to 100 is? So this is the notation we use. So start from 1 and up to 100. Go ahead. Yes, this is the range specifying that 1 to 100. This is the notation in the shell. Or we can use it. So the same notation we can use it. But instead of using the for loop, this kind of I plus plus. So these conditions to implement it while we use it. So second type of iteration we use it. Yeah, we'll get that some clarity on it. In which context we use the for loop and in which context we use the while loop. So normally these kind of conditions to define it, we use the while loop. Or we can use the for loop also, no issues. But for loop, if you're going to use it, this is a notation. So for variable in start from the 1 and end to the 100. So that means it is having the starting point, ending point, and increment also. So whatever we have defined here, simple, this is the statement which is defined that. And here what we are talking that I. So this is here I. The first one it is going to take it and it is going to assign that I equal to 1. Then the next iteration I equal to 2. Third iteration I equal to 3, like that up to 100 it is going to have. Okay, here starting block, how do we define it? Curly braces in the program. But here in the shell script we use it do and end of the block that is done. Do done. So do is the starting block and done is ending block. And here we can use it echo I and printing that I. How do we read the variable? Dollar with the variable I. First that contains I value 1, in the second iteration 2, third iteration 3. So first it is taking and it is going to assign that, and this variable we are using it in the block. That's why this one we say the variable which you can use it within the script. Suppose we have the server's IP addresses. How I can specify that? So this is one example. Okay, let me take it another example. This is a range. Some you have that between starting to that end. You have the specific range. Suppose I need to start from the 100 to 1000. So this is the starting point and this is the ending point. Suppose I have the 5 IP addresses, and if I have the 5 IP address 5 times, it has to be iterated. Then how do I use the for? Yeah, for okay, let me implement this. That's better. Yeah, for IP is my variable in. Then we can specify that IP address. IP1 space. Here is the delimiter which is going to use it. Delimiter, that is separator. IP address 1, IP address 2, and IP address 3, and IP address 4, and IP address 5. So if you have the 5 IP address, if you say that the 5 IP address, first IP address this is going to assign to this. Let me give this is as a variable address instead of getting the confusion. Yeah, first this IP address will be assigned to this address variable. Then start about the block, end of the block. Between that, then you can use it sh or scp command, scp, right, which you're talking about, scp, and the file, which file that you want to copy that. Then use a name at the rate of first IP address. How do you get it? Yes, this variable you can use it. And to which path do you want to copy that? Colon, and then path of the file where do you want to copy. Yeah, first this IP1 is going to take it and assign it to the address, and SCP, which will be done on the first IP address. Next IP2, yes, IP address 2, then SCP to that IP2. Next third one, next fourth one, next fifth one, and then it is going to end in that. So here, starting from here and ending from here. How many times it is going to iterate it? As a number of elements which are defined here. It is kind of the list. After that, in whatever you are defining that with the space. So this is the first argument, this is the second argument, this is the third argument. Whenever we are in the shell script, we are passing this, right? First position, second position, third position, that is like that. For loop, it is going to use it. This is the first element. So how it is going to know that first element is space is the separate. Second element, third element, like that 5 times it is going to iterate it. And this value we are going to reading through this variable. So this is a list-based specification. We say that list of all the elements. So suppose here the list, if I specify that 7 times it is going to iterate it back. Or today I need to run it only 3 iterations. Yes, if I say that the 3, then 3 times it is going to iterate it back. So as a list of element. But here also we have the starting point, ending point. Any iteration if you're defining is starting and ending. When it is going to end it? After 3 iterations, it is going to end in that. Are you understand these points?
Yes, sir.
Please type that in the chat window quickly, everyone, whether you are following it or not. Yeah, good. Ajay, Usha, Ravi, fine, good, thank you. Yeah, so now this is two notations we are understanding, but I mean the syntax is the same. But here, how you are going to define about your elements as a number of elements, number of times it has to be iterated. Suppose I have that, I mean, in one directory list of all the files, but I need to read it all the files content. Yeah, I need to check it, is it a file or not. If it is a file, then read the content, otherwise skip it. So how do you do that? So first, go to that directory, right? The way do you want to read it? Yes, go to that cd to the directory. Then you need to run it ls-lrth command in that directory. That means let's use it one variable. Running the command output you need to get it. What is the command output? ls-lrth. So first this command will be executed, and this command, whatever it is written in that will be captured here. Or if you need the only file names, just use it ls command. It is going to return only names, right? But if you need that date and times and permissions, and then you can use it lrth. But I need that only names of the files. So in this directory, if you have that 100 files, then all that will be assigned to this variable. Or if the directory contains only 2 files, then those two files will be assigned. Then as a number of files which are there, I'm going to read each file which is in the files. So until that, the number of files which are there, we are going to reading that, do, done, then write the condition. What is the condition? If that is a file, how to check it? Is it a file or not? -f and the dollar file. If that is a file, okay, then do the cat and the file, right? Can we say this? What's going to happen here? It is going to check the condition. Even this is also not required. If like directly the command you can define it. Yeah, so this notation, you can use this notation and you can define the condition. If this is a file, this is the true, then it is going to print the file. So how many number of files are there in this directory? Then number of files pointer, even you don't need to define that, go into the directory. Then what you can do that ls under directory path of the directory you can define. Then in that path, what all the files are there, it is going to assign to this variable, and this variable as a number of files point of view, each file is going to reading and it is going to check that is it a file or not. If it is a file, then it prints it, otherwise it doesn't do anything.
Sir,
Yeah, yes, please.
after do that bracket of -f dollar file returns true, right? Means
Yes.
true or false it returns. Then
Yeah.
after that and symbol is there, means and true, and then
Yeah.
how it is going to print that one if it is false or true, means
So we are handling only if this is the file, printing the
file
content.
content.
Yes. If this is the false, then it doesn't come to here, right? Interpreter, whenever it is a false, simply it ignores it. But if you would like to handle that case also,
Without using and also we can write, right?
how do you do that?
Means why after checking this one, it obviously it going to execute the next statement, right? Why if it is
Then you need to use it if statement. If this is true, then execute this, then end of the block.
okay.
That
I am
code,
saying like this only, sir. Previous one is I'm not getting that one. I understood this one. If it is true, then file content should be printed. Otherwise,
yes.
it end of the loop means another iteration means.
Yeah, correct. Next iteration it is moving.
Next iteration is going.
But what I was implemented, that condition, I'm checking that is it a file or not. We know that file operator, right?
Yes.
This is -f. If this is true, if this is true, then what we are doing? We are trying to print it.
Yes.
So if this is true, what is the command I need to run it next time? Cat the file. So what is the meaning of this? What is the ampersand meaning here? Double ampersand? Logical and.
Logical and. Yes.
If this is true, then it is going to check the second condition, second statement. If the left condition is true, then it is going to execute the right condition.
Okay.
Right? That was concept, right? Logical and logical OR. Logical OR, if this is the false, then only it is going to be executing that.
But one side is condition, one side is some activity we have to do now.
See, this
Both
is
are not conditions.
yeah, definitely. This is a statement you are executing that.
Yes.
But what is the status code it is going to return? The status code is a 0, right?
Okay.
This is a status code. I mean, this command status code is 0. This one is true or false. That is status codes.
Okay.
Suppose here also I can define some command. Suppose ls-l. I can define this statement like here. What is the meaning of this? ls-l. If it returns a 0, that means this condition is successful. The statement executed successfully.
Yes.
If it is written other than 0, that means what the interpreter is going to understand in that command got failed. That means that is a false. Yesterday exit statuses we are understanding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I have directly defined the true or false evaluation. You can define like this also.
Okay.
This is the return status code 0, that is success meaning. But here this is a condition, this is a false, true or false. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so now let's move into that, some examples understanding from the script. But this is the syntax of it. Yes, here range based to this is the programming, general programming. Python, if you're going to learn it, this is not even the Python also the syntax is different. If you're going to use it, yes, the Java, some other programming language, if you have already the background, this is a notation. This is just understanding. But actually, in the shell scripting, we use it this notation. Yes, if you like to define the particular range, we will use this. Or if you have the set of elements, yes, we use it like this. Or if you have the particular command execution, that command output based, you need to perform iterations. See, I have reduced almost 3 lines by just using this statement, right? Yeah, is the command output, that command directly you can use it, this command here also. You don't need that again, the variable and doing all the things. You can just do like this also. No issues. Yeah, let me show that the examples and working with that. Yeah, now can you give me that? So what it is going to do?
For 5 times, it is going to print welcome. Means welcome 1 time, welcome 2 times, welcome 3 times, well, like that, welcome 5 times.
Yes. So as a number of elements which have been defined, but here it has been used separator with space. As a number of elements which are defined, number of times it is going to iterating that. As first item which will be assigned to this variable, and this variable you can use it within the block. So that is a dollar and a variable. You can define any name, that is about your choice. This variable name is about our custom variable indirectly. So it is going to assign the first item, second item, third item, fourth item, like that. Yes, welcome 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Let me show that. This is the first example, right, on the for loop. To understand yes, I'm already on the background machine. I just logged in. Let me, so already we have created so many scripts, we can use the existing scripts also. Okay, let me go ahead for iteration. Simple, nothing big deal of this, just try to get the concept of the syntax. So whenever you are working in the lab guide, so first analyze the syntax and try to write it that syntax about your own in the notepad or the pen and paper, take it and try to practice it. then you can remember that the syntaxes. So in interviews, they will ask you that. Can you write it, the syntax of the program, or for loop or iterations, or some problem statement that they ask you, and do that activity. Then you should be able to write at least yes for loops, if else conditions, how do you do that, variables, how to define it, and how to read it. If you have that approach, then we can improve it that. Yeah, it is just taking this one by one, and it is as a number of iterations, number of times we have defined that. So one by one item it is taking, and it is going to assign to that I variable, and it is repeating that the same statement number of times. Okay, so what about this one? How many times it is going to iterating this?
4 times.
Yes, as a 4 elements which have been defined, 4 times it is going to iterate it. Yeah, value of the car is first variable, that is BMW. Second Ford, Toyota, Nissan, like that one by one it is going to assign, and it is going to print. Are you following everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now let's see that another use case. So you have the sequence of the commands you need to run it. So the commands execution. Yeah, how do you do that? With the for loop. Yeah, can you just think it of it and what it is going to do? Can you give me that answer?
So it will print the today's date, current date, and the working directory and list of files.
List of all the files, or is it?
File systems.
Yeah, file system information. Yes. So here it is defined the 3 commands as an inputs to this file. As simple as it is. After the in, with the space delimiter, it is going to use it. Yes, the first element, first command, second command, third command. Yeah, first command, the date that will be assigned to this variable. That means internally, if you see that it is doing that assignment also. Command equal to date. That is doing internally. As we are understanding, I equal to 0 in a normal the approach. Yeah, command equal to date, echo one line, empty line. Then that output of the command, that is a date command. Then we are running the command. That is a date prints. Then second the PWD commands, then DF command. So let's observe this output. Yeah, the output of the date command. So what is the date command? Yes, today's date it is printing as per the UTC time zone. The output of the present working directory is home current. Yes, this is the current working directory. And finally, df command output. Yes, this is the command output. Yeah, if you have this like that, to generate some with the same format, you see that same format. Normally, we can run it directly pwd. The date pwdf commands. Suppose pwd, yes, I can define like this directly in the script. But here, some additional statement also we have defined. That means we are getting the clarity of that, the which command we are running. But if I would like to do like this, then directly first to this statement, then date command, then second to this statement, then pwd command, then this statement, then the df command. Yes, without the for loop also we can do that, but 6 lines. But tomorrow some more commands you need to add it. Then as a number of commands, command into 2 lines, right? This is a common line. And this is the command output. Are you getting the points of this? Yeah, you can ask the sir, why do we need this for loop? Directly I will run it about the date pwdf. Yes, you can run it in the script, no issues. But here, empty line and this output with the command you are executing. Okay, command is a dynamic, but these two commands, these two statements, if I may have the commands here, the 20, then think it of it directly if you're going to define with the command execution 20 into 3, 60 lines of the file you need to implement, right? But here, always is the same, but I will increase that all the commands here, the number of elements here. Only in the one line I am defining that, all my commands. That is the beauty of the iteration. The reducing the lines of the code to perform the same or to execute the same block of the code number of times. Are you clear about this?
Sir, small doubt.
Yeah, please.
Here, after hash run command, dollar command statement is there, right?
Yes, correct.
What is going to give this one means we are retrieving the value only. Dollar command means value variable argument, passed argument.
Yeah, correct.
I are accessing here.
We are executing the command. Finally, we need to run the command, right?
Oh.
Suppose pwd. That's command I need to execute it. What it is doing? Command equal to pwd.
Echo in the statement they are printing as an output of dollar command. There itself it is executing. No?
Simple. This is the notation. I'm assigning this command to this variable and I'm executing that variable. That means command I'm executing. So remaining thing, that is echo command. Echo is just output. That output I see, you see that. Here we got it some lines. That is echo. One echo is to get the line. Second echo is to print this one. Okay, so here dollar command you are reading about it. That means pwd is replacing. df is replacing. But here it is not executing the command.
Okay.
It's just in the output, echo command output.
Okay.
Got the point? Then I'm running this command here. Now we got it, df command output this one, pwd command output this one, date command output is this one. Are you clear? So indirectly what it is doing is command equal to pwd, that is assigned. And whenever I am running about the dollar command, what is doing that? Dollar command is nothing but this pwd is executing that.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah, good. So this is about the sequence of the commands. If you would like to execute it, how do we do that? That is example for it. Now let's look into that one more use case. Okay, now the puzzle to you. So can you give me that, what it is going to do here? Just try, everyone. Take the 30 seconds and don't be in a hurry. And analyze that block of the code.
It is going to access the password file, group file means the arguments we are passing. Next, if the file exists, then it will print file found.
Okay.
etc password file found, like that. If it is false, then file is missing. Like that, we will get out.
Yes. Now, can you, I mean, you know that in the user management section, we are talking about it, some of the files, right, everyone? So, out of all these 4 files, can you give me that output? Which are all the valid files, which are all the invalid files?
I
If you
think
remember,
last one is invalid file. GSH.
okay, do you have the shadow file? What does it contain, the shadow file? What does it contain, the group file? Just remember that user management concepts anyway. Yeah, you need to check it, use the database, all the files are available or not. This is the script. That user related all the files we have defined, and we are verifying that if the files are the found, yes, user data, all the files are available. Or some file is missing. I've got the use case of this, everyone. Yeah, already
We
we
need
were
to
talking.
check configuration.
Sorry, yeah, please. Yeah, so here first we are defining the files over here, the number of files. And these files, yes, we are reading that one by one. Yes, first etc password. etc password is valid file, right? So this is a valid file. Yeah, so this is a valid file, yes, file form. And etc group is also valid file. etc shadow is also valid file, but etc g shadow is no file is available. So that is throwing that error. Let me run it and observe that output. Yeah, etc password file is a found. I mean, that file is found, proof is found, shadow file is found, but etc gsdow file is missing. That file is not there, obviously. But just to get that error, we have given that the string. So for loop, how do we use it? There are the different scenarios. Okay, you have the some command output, or you need to, or you have some elements, that elements based you need to run that the iterations, or you have some range based you would like to run it. There are the different use cases we are trying to understand. Yeah, suppose first use case, list of all the elements. This is also list of all the elements. And here also list of all the elements, but commands execution. And here, yes, we have defined the variable with the files, and all the files are available or not, very fine. See, normally this has to be this block of the statement, the magic of, if you observe that about the ampersands and the logical or operators, 7 or 8 lines, it has been defined in the single line, right? So normally what you need to do, if this is true, then echo $file found, else echo error, that is $a file is missing. Are you getting the points of this? But now how it is going to execute it? If this is the true, yes, obviously if this is the true, then interpreter has to execute the second statement. Okay, this is going to try to execute the echo command. So if this is true, if this is the true, then it is not required to execute it, is right? So or what it is doing between these two, if this is returns that the 0, then it is not going to do that. So if the file is missing, that means if this is the this is the false case, what it is doing that, then it is going to check with the or and with this. Yes, this one is a true or not, it is checking. Anyway, this echo command which returns the 0 exit status, and that will be successful. If this is got failed, then it is coming to check it this one. Got the point?
Excellent.
Everyone just be active. I mean, so can you say that? Are you following? So just can you type that? The for loop. Yeah, use a different keyword. Yes, say that. The for loop, for loop, for loop. Okay, good. Yes, yes, saying that blindly we go for that, but let's have some attention on this. Yes, type that everyone for loop. If you are good with that understanding. Yeah, the Pavani, Ravi, Ajay, good. Usha, yeah, thank you. So everyone is following this. That means good. Thank you. So let's have it. One more scenario. Now, yesterday, a day before yesterday, some use case where we were talking this. Can you give me that output now? You know it everything. Just focus. Just to take it 1 minute of the time. But even if you know that, just wait it. I'll ask you this. Then the reveal the answer. Everyone just think it of it. What's going to happen in this script? But don't ignore it. Yes, try to analyze the statements. Think like as an interpreter. Hash comment, hash line. Okay, leave that as a comment. Comment lines are not going to execute like this. Yes, you need to think it and you need to go ahead. And you know that logical and logical or for loop.
It will check the file size. File size is more than 0, then it will check for all the five, the n number of files. If the file is more than 0 bytes, then it will print file found. If not, it will file not found. Sorry, it's not a file.
No. Just think 1 second, please. I need that explanation from the first onwards. But this is not on the size based.
Maybe the number of arguments. So first one is the number of arguments that passes. If it's more than 0 or equal to 0, so then it will go as file 0, 1, 2, 3. So if you pass 5, then it will repeat as 5 times. And check whether those file is present or not. Or it's a file or not.
Okay, let me limit my statement. Can you explain this statement? Anyone? or anyone, you also are, I mean, who understand this. First that I need the state.
Maybe that denotes a number of arguments we pass in. If it is equal to 0, means if that square bracket returns true, otherwise false. If it is true, then echo means prints. Usage
Yeah.
$0 means a first argument, maybe.
First argument, $0. What is the $0?
Maybe first argument.
File name of the
File.
script.
Yes, file name of the script.
Okay, okay.
So what is the meaning of this statement is, if the user is not passing any argument with the script, so if it is a number of arguments is equal to 0, that means he didn't pass it any arguments. He just executed the script.
Yes.
Then it is going to saying that usage of the command is file name, and you need to use it file 1, file 2 like that, n number of files you can pass it that. And it is exiting the statement here with the status code 1. That means that is invalid execution. That means script is expecting at least one file as an argument, right? At least one argument, right? That is the meaning of this. The number of arguments equal to 0, then it is stopping here itself the script. So at least, I mean, this is the format he has to use it. He has to use that user, so who is going to use this script. Okay, now he has passed file name. I mean, yeah, so executing this script with the file 1, some XYZ file. Now it is coming to here. Now, what is the $asterisk, which we discussed in the special parameters or special variables? What is the $dollar asterisk? So all the arguments which are passed, right? Yes, if the user passes the file 1, then one argument. If the user passes the 5 files, then 5 files. So all the arguments which are passed with the script, it is going to take it, and it is going to assign to this f variable. The first file 1 he has passed. Okay, f equal to file 1. Then do echo empty line, echo, and it is just printing that the file, which type of this. Then is it a file or not? It is checking that. So size based to check it, -s, which we use it. But is it a file or not to check it, -f, right? As the file operators, if you remember that. If this is a file, that means the user, whatever the first argument he has passed, if it is a valid file, then it is trying to print the content of it. Suppose in case this is the false, that means this entire statement is a false, then it is going to try to export this. That file, I mean that argument, whatever the user is passed, that is not a file. Are you clear about this?
Sir, that first statement is out of for loop. So
yeah,
it is
yes,
going
correct.
to then it is going to execute only one time.
Let me show this now, that executing and this one output, then maybe you will understand it. And still, if you don't understand, let me know. Let me execute this script. So here, if you just observe that, this is one line of the statement. This is not the for loop.
That is
So
not in the
whenever,
for loop. Yes.
yeah, whenever the script is executing, it goes that's in the order way. The first it verifies that, okay, number of arguments. It didn't pass it any argument. I mean, there is no argument. What is the need of that executing this for loop and coming to here? And it is exiting that here itself. It is printing this output and return exit status, exit 1. So we are exiting the script here. So it is not equal to 0. That means something has passed. Some arguments he has given while executing the script. Then we are reading that all the arguments. If we pass the 3 arguments or 2 arguments or 1 argument, at least 1 argument. At least 1 argument. But maybe he can pass the 10 files, 100 files, doesn't matter that. If he passes 100 times it is going to repeat. If he passes only 1 file, 1 time it is going to repeat. As the arguments which we are reading, and we are taking that one by one, and we are checking that is a file or not, if it is a file printing, or if it is not the file, and we are printing that is not a file. Let me save it and let's see this output, then we'll understand some more. I didn't pass it any argument. What did he say that? Number of arguments equal to 0. Yes, that is true. Then it is saying that usage, yes, use this script and pass the arguments file 1 or file 2, what are the number of files are available, pass it the number of files here. The user is knowing that. Okay, now I am going to give that etc password file. This is a valid file, right? So one file I am passing that. Now you see that we got it now, that the cat command out. etc password is the file which we have passed. That is empty and this is the file and the content it is trying to print it. Are you clear about this one? Or if I say the simple for underscore iterations dot sh, is that content I am getting that here. So if I don't pass any arguments, it is stopping the script here itself. If I pass it some file name, whether the file valid or not, it is verifying. If that is a valid file, it is trying to print in. And if it is invalid, that means this statement is false. If this is a false, then it is trying to evaluate this one. That is not a file. Suppose if I say that something ABC file. So ABC is not a file. Or I can specify that ABC file and as well as other files also. Or I can say that etc password file. Or I can pass it something etc hostname file. Like that, the files you can pass it 1 or 10 as a number of arguments which are passing. It is going to iterate that number of times, verifying there is a file or not, and it is giving that output. If you don't specify any file and it is giving that saying that warning message, usage the file, I mean, execute the script with at least 1 argument. That is the meaning of this, right? So this is checking that if it is equal to 0, that means he didn't pass it anything. Then we are stopping here and we are giving the message to them. And if we pass the file, as a number of arguments he is passing, with space is the delimiter. That is important. It is going to use it. Space is the delimiter. Okay, Ajay, no problem. So recorded will be uploaded. You can continue. Yeah, now if I run this script, guess what? We got it. First argument, what we have defined? ABC. After this script first read, it is not a file. Good. Next iteration says this is the content of the iteration.sh. Next, etc password. Yes, that is the content of the etc password. etc hostname. Yes, that is a client. So if you pass the 10 files, 10 times it is going to iterate it. And if you pass it only 1 file, 1 times it is going to iterate it. So this is the handling about it, command line arguments. Yes. Whenever we are talking the special variable, someone is asking that in which scenario we use it $hash and in which scenario we use it $asterisk. As I was mentioned, we use it that reading all the arguments dynamically. Now user can pass it 1 or 0 or 10, doesn't know, we don't know that. if this is the kind of the requirement, if the user is having the 10 files, he will pass the 10 files, or if his user is having only 2 files, he will pass it while invoking the script. Then you should handle within the script with all the cases. Yes, this is the logic for it, right? If it doesn't pass it anything, you stop the process by giving the message. We passed something, then so here it has been used iterations, and as well as it has been used conditions also. With special variables, $hash, $asterisk. Are you clear about this point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so while implementing the script, if you have this any command line arguments, yes, that command line arguments, you can check it here. And if you'd like to read the command line arguments, you can use it with the for loop with the $asterisk as a number of arguments has passed, number of times that will be iterated. This is one more use case for loop, and with the special variables we are understanding with the logical and logical OR operators, simplifying about the scripts. So just remember these use cases. Whenever you are trying to implement it as per the requirement, you can refer these scripts back. So you need to handle that arguments checking. Then you can take this block of the code. If the arguments at least 2, then you can specify the 2 or less than or equal to 2. That's you can use it. If is suppose you are going to use the cp command here, but at least 2 arguments he has to pass it. Source file and destination file. That means at least how many arguments? 2 arguments. That means $hash is less than 2 -lt 2 or le less than or equal to, yes, less than or equal to 2. That means at least 2 arguments he has to pass it. Then you can stop the process here itself, printing the message and with exit status. So if you pass that 2 or more than arguments, then you can use it reading all the arguments in the scp command, scp or scp-cp source file and the destination file. That is the files reading and one by one, $1, $2. That's you can use it, or a $asterisk with that you can read that all the arguments. Next, another interesting is observe this. Directly with the statement itself, we can understand it, what it is doing. But let me know that the logic behind this. So instead of here, what I do is now let's try to analyze this script. Are you there, everyone? Are you going through that?
Yes, sir. Can I, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So n equals to, we are passing argument, means we are giving. Suppose 2 is given, then n takes 2. we are
Okay.
checking if loop, if condition we are checking,
Yeah.
2 is not equal to 0, then it exits 1 with 1.
No. That
It
is
is
wrong.
false condition. 2 is not equal to 0.
No. Anyone else?
2. Okay, means number of argument we are passing. 2 is I am giving, but number of argument is 1.
Yes. That
1
is
is
correct.
not equal to 0.
Mm.
So it exits if so with 1. So we
Sure.
are going to execute for
One
loop.
is not equal to 0 or equal to 0. What is the statement it is defined?
1 equal to 0.
Is it
Equal
true or
to 0.
false?
So it is false.
If it is the false, where it is coming?
Okay. It out of if it comes, na sir, means
Yes. That means it is coming to,
next statement.
that is,
Next.
for loop.
Yes, I'm for loop. So for I in 1 to 10, it is going to execute $n means we passed that 2.
Yes, correct.
2 into $I means for loop variable values.
Yes, 1. First it
1
is going to assign to the 1.
1 equals to executing this multiplication. 2 into 1, 2.
Yes, this is the output of this. And these are
Yes.
all the just variables it is printed.
Yes, sir. So like that, 2 into 2, 2
Yeah. So overall the script is,
into 3, like up to 10. After 10, yes.
yeah. So overall the script is, so this multiplication table is expecting one argument. So that is, if you don't specify that any arguments, it is exiting. I mean, it is showing that a shell script to print multiplication table usage is at least one number you need to pass it. So if you don't pass it any arguments, it is stopping here. But if you pass it some the argument, yes, it is going to assign to this n variable, and that is, suppose multiplication table is nothing but, yes, if I say that 2 table 2 into 1, 2 into 2, that is up to 10, right? The range 1 to 10. We are using this in the for loop, that 1 to 10, and we are taking that one by one with the multiplication of that $I, that is 1 into $n, that is 2. First time. Next, the 2 into 2. Next to 3 into 2. Next to 4 into 2. 5 into 2. 3, like that until 10 it is going to print like that. Okay, let's see this, the output of this script. Yeah, I didn't pass it any argument, and it is saying it is stopping there itself. That means at least one argument you need to specify. Yeah, now we got that, the table of it. If I say that 100 table, I will get it that. The beauty of the programming, right? Can you type that, everyone, beauty, if you understand this? Good, thank you, Ravi, Usha, Sushma. Okay, good. So that is the beauty of these iterations. The same block of the statement, if you like to define the number of
Sir,
times. Yeah.
Can we pass the arguments without list? Can we pass the arguments like range?
Here.
And suppose if we take multiplication table
Hmm.
here, not here, sir. In the when we are executing, we are passing 200 like that. Can we pass 2 to 10 range? Can we pass that?
Yeah, you can specify that, but you need to handle within the script.
Okay.
So here we are reading the $1. That means only first argument. If you pass it the 10 arguments also doesn't matter. It is going to read it only one argument.
Yes, sir.
But if you have the range of, then read that and use the for loop, one more for loop on the top of this one, right?
Okay. Got it, sir.
Yeah, one more for loop on the top of this one. Suppose if you have this approach, then what you can do? So this is the first printing the table, printing the particular table. But you need to have it another range. Then what you need to do? This for loop you need to handle with this is a table. Yes, you can use it some variable in, and whatever you are passing the range, that is $1, you can read it here. That is something $1. Now if you are going to specify like this, the range, something I need that 3 to 5. So if you pass it, that will be assigned to here, the $1. And the first table is 3, it is going to take it. And this one you just replace with the n. Instead of the n, I got the point.
Yes, sir. Got it.
So you need to handle like this on the basis of the script arguments which are passing. Yeah, so that's about understanding some scenarios with the for loop. Try to review about it and try to type it and analyze the coding. So whenever you are, so the main, the importance is whenever we are analyzing the script itself, we need to think like as an interpreter. So during that implementation, you should think, if you are able to think like as interpreter, then yes, we can do the magics on the program. So the trick what we need to have is, so understanding how the interpreter is going to use it. Suppose here we have defined -f $f. If you don't understand that interpreter what it is doing, then you cannot get that output. Okay, so it is as we are understanding the file operators. Okay, it is going to check the file. If it is a file, that means this is the true. As we know, that's a double ampersand. This is the first statement is the true, then second statement is going to excluding that. That means it is echo command is going to printing. Echo is always the success. That is a 0. If this is a success, then it is not going to exclude, right? So this is the statement is the true, then obviously it doesn't come to this one. As we know that OR operator. The first statement is true, then second statement is not going to exclude in that. So if you think it and analyze it in this way, then it is very easy working with the scripting. First, we should understand is the variables, operators, whatever we are understanding, and then special variables. What is the dollar asterisk, dollar hash, $1, $0, dollar question mark. Now you got it the scenarios also. Where do we use it? That day we were talking that we are just printing that. But today we are using in the scripts. Yes. So I'm moving to the printing this the next statement. If the user passed at least one argument, the dollar hash has been used here. And how do you read that all the arguments which are passed while invoking the script? Dollar asterisk. Yeah, that is about some examples on the for loop. So for loop with this iteration, or I mean the range of elements defining that. Either you can take the command, the output, you can pass it as a that's output, or you can specify this number of elements while defining the for loop. Here are the different the use cases. But next another type which is available, that the while loop. Yeah, so this while loop we'll talk it tomorrow. Anyway, if you go beyond this, then that is out of sync. Yes, we'll see this tomorrow about the while loops. Is it clear for just today? The for loop understanding, the iterations and iterations usage. And for loop especially, how do we use that with the different use cases? So main point is after the in, either you can pass it the elements with the space parameter, or you can read it from the special arguments, that is a dollar at the rate of or a dollar asterisk, that is reading that all the arguments, or we can use it command output, we can take it and we can use it that. Yeah, that is ls -l, the command output, and as a number of lines, I mean the number of files, yes, you can use it. That's kind of is command output. On the base of that number of the items which have been written, then you can do that number of times iterations. But while loop, when do we use it? In which context do we use it that? Here we didn't talk it about it files reading and the files content displaying that, the line by line. Yeah, the files management activities. So here list of elements based which we are understanding, either range of elements or list of all elements. Yeah, these are also list of all arguments. That's we are trying to understand the for loop. But while loop, in which scenarios we will use it, that's we'll talk it tomorrow. So this is mostly file reading operations. Read the file and file content printing on the base of the lines or on the base of yes, delimiters. So we have some use cases with the while loop. So you'll get that some more clarity on the iterations with the while loop. Yeah, that's we'll talk it tomorrow. Yeah, so that's all for today from my side. Yes, any queries, questions, please let me know. This weekend we'll try to complete that. So all these shell scripting, and next Monday onwards we'll start the AWS. Yeah, if you're good, then we'll wind up for today. Any queries, questions, please.
Nothing, sir. For myself, nothing.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks to everyone. Thank you, and try to practice that these scenarios and try to analyze it. Try to analyze it. One time, yes, open it and go ahead. Okay, so this bin bash is defined. So here, like this, I mean, you can open this all these exercises. So before executing and running that, what exactly is happening that? If I run this script on that shell. So more analytical skills, then you can become the very good programmer. Thank you all. I'm going to log off for today.
Okay.